I was sick a bit ago and I have a frog in my throat that keeps cloning itself, but I gotta get this video out, man. Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino roasts and votes for the Game Awards 2025 nominees. Starting with the site itself, because it's been 11 years of you doing this, why am I getting errors out the wazoo? 404s, 500 server errors, hell I even got banned from the website once for trying to access it too many times. Each click takes about 45 seconds to register. Every time I want to see a new page, I go to the bathroom and come back and it's still buffering. I took 30 pisses today to bring you this video, so I hope you appreciate it because my bladder was very confused. Starting with the last category and working our way to the first, let's kick things off with Best Esports Team. We've got Gen.G, NRG, Team Falcons, Team Liquid, Filipino Edition, and Team Vitality. As exciting as it must be to watch a revolving door of Asians and Swedes play games from 2009 that are old enough to write twitlongers about you, I don't entrench myself too much in the esports scene. It's too dangerous. Everyone in there is getting accused of something or another, whether it's grooming, assault, or not respecting the pronouns of people who go by it. I'll start calling you it when you start bringing red balloons to the venue and making children go missing, okay? Anyway, I have no idea how any of these teams did, so I will not be voting. Next, after closing the browser and reopening it, we have Best Esports Athlete and a few familiar names, if not faces. We've got Brock, who also goes by Brock. What's up, guys? I'm Brock, but you can call me Brock. Anchovy's been here before. Forsaken is a new one, I think. Probably has to change his name now. Then we have Kakeru Watanabe, who I'm pretty sure came directly from Ghost of Yotei to be here. Not all Japanese people look like samurai, but this dude was definitely the heir to a major clan in the 1600s. Speaking of looking straight out of a game, Menard looks like he plays his own. He probably has Chun-Li's thighs on his face 24/7. What do you think Zywoo's looking at here? You think he's playing a game or he's got like a secret tab open? My guess is Futa. No vote. Next is Best Esports Game. Wow guys, look, it's every game from last year. Who gives a shit? No vote. Next we have Content Creator of the Year. From left to right, it's guy I've never heard of, guy who has 10 other dudes in his room at all times, guy who stopped taking donations, and that's definitely why he's here, some kind of cartoon because VTubers are the new diversity initiative, and what the peanut butter fuck is this shit? Why is there some Roblox brain rot nonsense here? Is this Ballerina Cappuccina's cousin? I'm gonna find out later that he did some kind of multi-million-dollar charity event for babies with brittle bone disease, and I'm still gonna hate it. I watch Moist Critical semi-regularly, and he seems so consistently insistent on the idea that he doesn't deserve anybody's money that it borders on pathology, and it honestly pisses me off. Like, you are an entertainer. If people are entertained by you, you are adequately providing a service that people can choose to show their thanks for financially, and you taking away their ability to reward you for their appreciation is like falling on a sword without anyone asking. Nobody cares how much money you already have, certainly not the people still trying to give theirs to you. It's not your choice to make for them. It's like setting your mailbox on fire so nobody can send you thank you cards. It's such an extreme, ridiculous thing to do that in the long run potentially harms other creators because it makes audiences wonder, well, at what point in a creator's success should they stop deserving our money? Does the amount of money you have coincide negatively with the value of your entertainment? I make less than minimum wage a month doing this. My subscriber count might be decent, but the revenue is carried by a handful of big videos, so I am among the list of poor other streamers who supposedly benefit from one big fish taking himself out of the pond, but I cannot support it logically. Why cut off the revenue stream when you could just divert it to a worthy cause if you were so dead set on not keeping money your audience already decided you earned? Anyway, you still get my vote out of these picks. Next up is Most Anticipated Game, starting with IO of Hitman fame's upcoming James Bond jaunt. I watched a 25-minute deep dive of this game's mission structure and gameplay, and it looks like it'll be so goddamn fun and cool. As a huge fan of Hitman and a decent fan of Uncharted, this game looks like a combination of both. It's gonna be a blast. GTA 6 keeps getting delayed, so who knows when it'll come out, but that obviously maintains a high level of anticipation. Wolverine is gonna be sick, because Insomniac doesn't miss. Resident Evil Requiem has me shitting my panties already, either out of terror or anticipation, dealer's choice, and I 100% forgot The Witcher 4 was even a thing. I am one of the apparently few people who didn't like The Witcher 3. I tried it on 2 separate occasions and could not get into it. I didn't like the combat or the RPG mechanics, but maybe the 4th one will modernize and improve things in a way that brings me in. That said, for me it's between 007, Wolverine, Requiem, and not GTA 6 because I'm so special and unique and different. If I was gonna vote for something outside this list, I'd still go with Kingdom Hearts 4, but for this, I'll go with 007. Next is Best Adaptation, and would you believe me if I said I hadn't seen a single one of these? It's not that I, as a 31-year-old, am not beyond excited to watch a Minecraft movie where the whole dialogue is just the dude explaining what everything in Minecraft is, but nah. Alright, at this point in the script, I got really sick for a few days, so I decided to just go watch everything on this list, except the movies, because they cost money. Splinter Cell was okay, nothing to write home about. It's kind of like watching Archer if that was a serious show, but it has some decent fight scenes in it. And as someone who's only played Splinter Cell Blacklist like 15 years ago and forgot everything about it, when they brought in Sam Fisher, I was like, oh, Sam Fisher! And that was kind of the highlight. Devil May Cry was like equal parts trash and awesome. It made me realize Dante is one of the coolest video game characters ever created, and I wish I liked the gameplay of his games more. The anime makes him more Deadpool-y, but not in an egregious way, and I think it really works for the character and also makes me jealous because I could totally voice him. It's also kind of surreal to hear Kevin Conroy in there as the vice president, as I think this was his last project before he passed, and you can tell because they put a bunch of Batman references in there, which is kind of sweet. But I also don't like his character at all, so it's a double-edged sword. The show's not that funny, especially as funny as it could be given the characters they're working with, but there's a few chuckle lines in there. Then we have The Last of Us Season 2. I hadn't seen any of it before, so I binged Season 1 and 2 back-to-back, so the comparisons are fresh. You hear people saying it sucks because you hear people saying everything sucks, but from a quality standpoint, the only thing that was really worse about Season 2 is the fact that it ends where it does, because they're finishing it in Season 3. Otherwise, it's just strange casting choices continuing from Season 1. They cast Caitlin Dever, who should have played Ellie, as Abby, because they cast a potato to be Ellie, and now in Season 2, the potato is fully ripe, and we get to watch it lock tuber lips with a goddess. In The Last of Us 2 game, Ellie and Dina are somewhat looks matched. Dina's still more attractive, but the pairing is believable. In the show, the scales are fully tipped, because Dina's actress is insanely pretty, and Ellie's actress takes 6 days to grow in Stardew Valley and has a chance of multiple yields at harvest. Canonically, Ellie is supposed to think she is unworthy of the affections of someone this gorgeous, but she is also not supposed to be based on an Irish famine. I'm a big Caitlin Dever fan, but even I'm like, why are you Abby? Abby is supposed to be this brick house, Ronda Rousey looking slab of muscular beef who can lift you by the throat with one hand and choke slam you through a metal table. Caitlin Dever is a twig, and she's nowhere near as imposing as Abby should be. Spoilers incoming, even though it's been 5 years. Any other reasons to not like Season 2 are just based on decisions the game already made. Though it has been funny to see the show expand on and reinforce some of the points I made when I initially defended The Last of Us 2's decision to kill Joel. In the last episode, when Ellie finally tells the other people how Joel killed an entire hospital full of people, including Abby's dad, who was an unarmed doctor, to save Ellie from a surgery that would have killed her but synthesized a cure for the rest of the world, everyone else is like, oh, okay, let's go home. What the fuck? What are we doing out here? I didn't know he did that shit. No wonder she killed him. Can we get the hell out of Seattle, please? If I have to vote for one here, I guess I'll do Devil May Cry. Next is Best Multiplayer, and I've played all of these except Battlefield 6. Arc Raiders has been pretty fun. It's an extraction shooter where you come up against other teams who are just as likely to kill you as help you, but I had a run where we amassed a squad of like 12 dudes who all agreed to cooperate and created our own little militia to rain death on every drone we saw. Elden Ring Night Rain is a terrible roguelike, but still a fun multiplayer experience for a while. As far as nominations go, this slot was probably down to either Peak or Repo, and I would have gone with Repo since they don't care if a game's in early access or not. Then you have Split Fiction, which is the best game here by a mile, and one of the biggest Game of the Year snubs in recent memory, especially considering the dev's previous game, It Takes Two, won Game of the Year back in 2021, and this game is much more fun and impressive than that one. I hate the way time passes in the gaming industry, and I'll tell you more about what I mean by that as we get to more examples of it in this video. I vote Split Fiction. Next is Best Sports/Racing, and for the first time maybe ever, the heavily franchised realistic sports and racing games that I don't know a single person who actually plays them are outnumbered by more cartoony and stylized offerings. Mario Kart World has the distinct honor of being the world's first $80 game, so put it down the garbage disposal for that. Almost every gimmick they touted for it was a pointless decision. A big open world, nobody cares. We'll drive around in it for 10 minutes, find nothing worthwhile to do or see, and go back to the actual racing. Interconnected tracks, very cool, except it makes half of every race a boring-ass highway from point A to point B. The only cool thing they added, which to be fair is the greatest thing Mario Kart has ever had, is the knockout mode where you have to hit checkpoints along the races and the last 4 people get eliminated until there's only 1 person left standing. This is the only reason to play Mario Kart World. Then you have Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which has some cool ideas like warping between tracks during the same race and trying to recapture the Smash Bros. Hype by having a bunch of crossover characters like Joker and SpongeBob and Steve, but I haven't played it, so I don't know how it feels, which is the most crucial part of any racing game. A surprise hit of 2025, though, is definitely Rematch, which I played for a week or two and really saw the potential of it being the next Rocket League in terms of compelling small team soccer action. I think I'm going to go with Rematch on this one. Now we have Best Sim/Strategy, which is never my most played genre unless a Fire Emblem or a Civ game comes out. Luckily we have one with Civ 7, the newest installment in the franchise where you play a 5-player game until one of your friends loses and then you start over and never finish an actual game. We didn't play this enough in the beginning. Civ games always need like a year or 2 of content updates before they become really solid games, so I do want to go back to it soon. Otherwise I've played none of these. I'm on the fence about Final Fantasy Tactics because it's one of those classics that I might really like, but it also might be one of those classics that's too old to get into now because I don't know how modern the modern version really gets. I'm going to vote Civ 7. Next is Best Family, which is usually the Nintendo show, but once again the standard is outperformed with multiple LEGO titles, a Sonic racing game, and Split Fiction, which if it won this, it would be like an Oscar winner accepting a Kids' Choice Award. If the main Hazelight guy wins this, is he gonna go on stage and say fuck and then get slimed like it's Nickelodeon? Split Fiction is too good to be here, but it's also not an easy brainless platformer, so I hope it trains our nation's toddlers to be effective gamers from a young age, the way Crash Bandicoot and Donkey Kong Country did for our generation back in the day. Don't discount the LEGO games though. LEGO Party is actually a really fun Mario Party clone, and LEGO Voyagers is a more somber and peaceful bite-sized co-op romp that you should still wait till it's like $10 or something, but nah. Donkey Kong Bonanza is obviously great, and I'm gonna vote for it here because Split Fiction deserves better. I'm gonna skip Best Fighting Game because I've played none of them, so moving on to Best RPG, we have some heavy hitters. Best RPG is always stacked. I had a decent time with Avowed for a dozen hours or so. Expedition 33 is the most nominated game of all time at this point, with 12 or 13 nominations, I believe. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is probably the last big game that I need to play before I finalize my top 20 games of the year video, but I've heard good things. Monster Hunter Wilds was also decently fun, even though I hate just about every mechanic in those games. It's just like the single most aggressively not for me franchise in history, which I'll get more into if it shows up again. And then The Outer Worlds 2 is actually the other big game I need to play that I've been wanting to, but for me the clear vote here with what I know now is Expedition 33. Next we have Best Action Adventure, and with the exception of one game on here, it is straight heaters. Care to guess what I think is the odd one out? There's a half-decent chance I'm just being a carryover hater from the first one because of what slimy fucking balls I thought it was, putting the most overt immersion-breaking ads in it for goddamn Monster Energy and Ride with Norman Reedus on AMC among God knows what else, but the only award Death Stranding 2 On the Beach should win is a Razzie for Worst Title. On the Beach? Literally just cut that part out. Just be Death Stranding 2. Ghost of Yotei isn't out here being Ghost of Yotei in a field. Not every game needs a subtitle. Hideo Kojima can have his Metal Gear flowers, but that doesn't give him carte blanche to put every random dumbass thought in his head into a video game. I'm excited for what he's shown of OD, his newest project, but Death Stranding is like a permanent blight on his reputation as far as I'm concerned, and I hate all the glazing he gets at awards shows like this. Imagine all the cool games that could be shown in the 10 minutes it takes him to have his boring answers translated from the boring questions he gets asked. Oh wow, you're working on a new game? What made you want to do that? Well, it's exciting to work with famous celebrities and have nobody ever tell me no anymore for the rest of my life. How about no more interviews at the Game Awards for anyone, ever? Go write a dev blog or appear on a podcast if you want to answer some inane questions. We're here to see 17 farming game announcements and 6 gacha adventures with hot bitches in them. Anyway, every other game on this list is a banger. Ghost of Yotei brings me back to my earlier point about how time passes in the gaming industry. In the year 2020, Ghost of Tsushima comes out, and it's this big shiny new thing, and it's great, and it's received well, it gets a bunch of accolades, and is the clear runner-up for Game of the Year, only losing to The Last of Us Part 2. Ghost of Yotei comes out this year, and iterates and improves on literally every single mechanic and gameplay element and graphical whatever, being better than the original in arguably every way but the story if you like the first one's story better. And I'm saying this as someone who played Tsushima, platinumed Yotei, then went back and played Tsushima again. The difference is night and day. It's only your nostalgic memory of the first one if you haven't played it in a while that clouds that. It just sucks to see a game that would have swept awards shows a few years ago get the shaft, because every year that passes in the industry is like 25 dog years as far as people's expectations are concerned. Like, IGN gave Yote an 8 out of 10 for being an iterative sequel, as if it's not better in every way than the original game they gave a 9 to. What the fuck are improvements even worth these days? So if you take an established formula and spend 5 years fine-tuning it and tweaking it to near perfection, if you're lucky, you might end up just short of where you started. We need to start respecting iterative sequels again. Silksong is one that most people respect. That shit crashed every store that carried it like a virus, and its improvements to movement alone are worth every praise you could give it. The skill expression ceiling was raised phenomenally, the dance of combat even more mesmerizing and satisfying. I beat this game 3 times for the platinum, and each playthrough was more fun than the last. Then you have what will probably be the most slept on game of this year's awards, because it came out at the end of last year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is an absolute blast. I don't know why I said that like Trisha Takanawa. The kind of game they just don't make much of anymore. It's action-adventure, obviously, but it's like Hitman. You've got stealth takedowns, areas you're allowed to be versus not allowed to be, disguises you can wear, but in this there's so much side stuff to do and collectibles to find that give you skill points. It's all such fulfilling content to participate in. Split Fiction is the only game in this list, and frankly in all of 2025, that I had a non-stop good time playing and could not identify any flaws. I think this game is legitimately perfect. Every new thing it introduces is somehow even more stellar gameplay, and if you pick Mio, you eventually get to be a boat. You can be a fucking boat, dude. It feels like crazy work to vote against Silksong in any capacity, but I'm doing it for Split Fiction here since it didn't even get nominated for Game of the Year, which is a blatant atrocity. Next is Best Action Sans Adventure, which has led to some interesting picks this year. I'm not sure exactly which of these should have been replaced by First Berserker Kazan, but a replacement was needed. I've completely left the Call of Duty and Battlefield sphere. Doom the Dark Ages is good, but not great, and did someone from PlayStation commit a hate crime against a Supergiant dev? Because why the fuck isn't Hades 2 on PlayStation yet? I played it in early access on Steam, and it's an outstanding game even back then, but now I want to dive back into it and platinum it, and they're just holding that shit for ransom. How is it one of the only 5 games on Switch 2? How much did Nintendo pay you for exclusivity that doesn't even apply to Steam? I writhe and squirm every day this game isn't on PlayStation. I did not play Ninja Gaiden 4 because Game Pass is exhaling its final wretched breath and just isn't worth having anymore, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance looks cool and I'll probably like it, but it's one of those games that I wish would just magically fall into my lap instead of me having to buy it. The crazy part is that even in its earliest form, without considering all the improvements it's made that I have yet to witness, Hades 2 easily clears all of these, so I'm voting for that. Skipping Best VR, because I have no VR and played none of these even outside of VR, next is Best Mobile Game, aka Best Gacha Nonsense that is the backbone of Japan and China's economy. This shit's gotta stop. Of course they made a Persona one, of course they did. I've been gacha free for a year or two now, but this will not break me. Uma Musume is the most direct translation from video game gambling to IRL gambling I've ever seen. Like, you can go to a real horse track right now and have basically this experience, but with the added stakes of ruining your actual life. I played this game for a couple hours and it was fun to get animated and yell at the pretty horse girls for being sluggish out of the gate and their skills not helping them win, but yeah, no. I don't want to vote here. Best Debut Indie is next, and this category is crazy, partly because there's only 4 games here because one of them got destroyed by not actually being a Best Debut Indie, and partly because one of them is the de facto Game of the Year for a lot of people. If you're wondering what Despalote is, so is everyone, and Dispatch had such a muted launch that the delayed explosion that came afterwards was super jarring. I haven't played it, but I have been curious about it. It might be terrific, or it might be the Stray of the Year. Blueprints is going to be so underappreciated at these awards. What a fantastic mystery puzzle game. No game this year took over my life the way Blueprints did. I was thinking about this game for weeks, taking notes, drawing diagrams. I'd pay to have my memory wiped so I could re-experience it blind again. But Expedition 33 is also here, and that's just the absolute juggernaut of the show. I'm voting Blueprints. Expedition 33 can have the other million things it'll get. Now we have Best Independent Game, removing the debut restriction, and I don't think this category has ever been this full of top-tier stuff. Not that everything is, but what is, you know? Blueprints, Expedition 33, Silksong, and Hades 2? How do you even vote that? Ball Pit is also a great game for the record, very addicting in that Vampire Survivors kind of way, but with brick breaking, which is a long-forgotten genre that needs more games that aren't just you uncovering a porn image. The only snub I can even think of for this category is no Monster Train 2. Replace Absolem with that, and you'd have a perfect list. I don't know what the hell to do here. It's actually impossible to choose, and I'll probably have to do it in like 4 more categories, so for the purposes of embodying the indie spirit the most, let's just go with Silksong this time. I'm gonna skip community support and go to Best Ongoing, which I'm only even bothering to do this one because it's the only category that Marvel Rivals is nominated in, which is insane! I only played it for a couple months, but that's a lot for me for a multiplayer game. This game took the Overwatch formula and injected it with tits, ass, and a Marvel logo. So many of the characters are fun to play, the game feels great, it keeps adding new characters which are hyped by default because they're recognizable. Marvel Rivals gets the only vote it can for some reason. Next is Games for Impact, a category game journalists invented so they could circle jerk each other about their taste in games that nobody else plays. The closest I got to playing any of these was the Next Fest demo of Wanderstop, and it was no wonder why I stopped. Just more tired farming and shopkeeping mechanics that didn't feel good. I don't have a vote here. Innovation and accessibility is a skip because I have all my limbs and cognitive functions, so next is Best Performance, and once again they have ignored my repeated pleas to put the fucking character names next to the actor names. Never has it been more pressing to do than now, where 3 of the actors are from the same goddamn game, and the uninitiated might wonder who the hell played who. I don't have much to say about anyone in particular, it's dealer's choice when it comes to the 33, but Charlie Cox is Daredevil, so I'm voting him for Gustav. Audio design isn't something I noticed, so I'm just gonna start skipping that one, but best score and music goes to Expedition 33 all day, and I probably put one of their tracks in the background of this video. Best art direction goes to Expedition 33 with the wacky characters and super cool Renaissance painting aesthetic, and best narrative also goes to Expedition 33 for the narrative. Next is Best Game Direction, and this is one where I have to prop up Split Fiction some more. The final half hour to an hour of this game is one of the best sequences in gaming history, bar none. It is jaw-droppingly amazing. If we're talking creativity and innovation in game design, nothing beats that, so Split Fiction gets it. And finally, it is time for Game of the Year 2025. 6 games that I've played 4 of, nominated for the highest honor instead of Ghost of Yotei and Split Fiction for some reason. Death Stranding 2 for Game of the Year. Does Kojima have any cock left for the Game Awards to suck? Because he is about to bust all over this show, and it'll probably be a 15-minute segment. Donkey Kong Bonanza is not better than Yotei and Split Fiction, sorry. It's also not better than the other 3 games I might still vote for here, which puts it in 4th, with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 deferred until I actually play it. So Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Hades 2 are left. My opinion of Hades 2 is incomplete because I haven't played it since last year, so I can only imagine how much better and complete it is, and that I am probably not rating it highly enough even though it's still very high. But that's also your fault for not coming to PlayStation right away, so get bent, kid. 3rd place. Expedition 33 or Silksong, Expedition 33 or Silksong. Both of these games had portions of it where I was not having fun. In Silksong, when you don't know where to go, it's miserable, especially when the game first launched and nobody got early access to it, so nobody online had the answers to your questions, so you don't get fast travel from anywhere to Lag 3, so you can waste a lot of time following hunches that don't pan out and having to run all the way back to a station. In Expedition 33, the difficulty spike that occurs once your damage cap disappears right before the final part of the game, and now all of a sudden every side activity and thing near you is insanely mega buffed and too strong for you, is frustrating as hell for like an hour until you find the right place to grind levels. Which game had higher highs? Expedition 33. Which game was more engrossing and hooked me with what's happening? Expedition 33. I voted for Metaphor last year, and I feel like this is not a big departure from that. I vote Expedition 33. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos and try to perfect parry all my takes that you disagree with, and I'll see you guys next time.